Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Secret Icon Halo Playcast here on YouTube, where all things are limitless. We're back with another level, one of the most notorious ones of them all. Bryan, what are we playing today?
The library.
The library.
The Halo community's one of their least favorites that I personally quite love.
Look at that little Guilty Spark shit sitting right there waiting to usher us forward.
Oh, dude, you know what we should do here?
What's that?
I'm gonna see. We should. Okay, you know what, Josh? Let's see. I'm gonna put subtitles on if I can, real quick.
Okay.
Because the stuff that Guilty Spark says in this episode.
Yes, I know where you're going with this.
Is really good, and there's no way to make it all out if you.
Well, you're talking about
try something, though.
Listening to him talking. I'm talking about I got him right in my crosshairs, ready to kill him.
Hey, Josh, I'm gonna come over here real quick. I want to see if I can grenade jump up here.
All right, my dude. Let's see. Not so quite.
I know you can. You can do it somewhere here. Hold on a second. I'm gonna try this one spot here in a second. Oh man.
Oh shoot! Here we go. Here we go. Oh god, there's
my health is low.
It's the mysterious blobs.
Mysterious blobs.
Do not like them. I do not like them. Okay. Oh, he's glitching out on mine. Oh wow, that was crazy.
343 Guilty Spark?
Yeah, he started to sound like he was doing that hum thing, but he was like. That sounded awesome though. I'm not gonna lie. That was like
what if you looked up and he just had like a freaking Elvis wig and he was like singing?
I think that'd be great. If they, oh man, you know what? With all this stuff that they've been adding, dude, they should add the option to like give him some apparel.
That would be hilarious.
Yes, I would totally pay for that. Okay. My chumps. There we go. Got a bunch of them there.
Play through the library with Exuberant Witness instead of 343 Guilty Spark.
Ooh.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit more work, but it'd be fun. I actually made
we are
that
near
one.
the index chamber. Follow me.
I thought you were about to say we're near to the end.
Oh!
Oh my gosh, they're about to go flying. You missed a puppy jacket, man. Oh god. There's so many. Oh god, there's two. Oh! I got shotgunned in the back. Now they're feeding on my body. It's all up to you now, Bryan.
Oh, you're dead? Oh, shit.
Yeah, I completely ate shit. Man, throw a grenade at that big boy. Mr. Poppy Jacket Man.
Poppy Jacket Man.
Here goes, pop! Okay. Cool. Now if I can just get my ammo. I have my boomstick. Okay. There we go. So Bryan, you played Halo 2 first. That's your first Halo experience. You jump in, you play this one after. What's your thoughts on this level? More, like the campaign overall, but more specifically this level. Playing through it your first time.
I mean, I thought the campaign was more or less just as good as the second game. Playing it after the fact, I still thought, oh wow, this is really good too. But I do remember not liking this level the first time I played it. I think it was mainly just because it just felt like it was never going to end.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
If this game is like 10 hours, let's just say, just to put a number on it, it feels like 8 hours of the game are this level. I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it just doesn't help that like you do like 7 floors that all look the same.
Yes.
You don't do anything different, nothing different story-wise happens. So.
Yeah, oddly enough, some of my most memorable co-op experiences are on this level. Like, I remember playing through this level a lot with my friends. I don't necessarily...
Really?
It doesn't necessarily translate to those being fun, but it's more fun to play with friends. So I think that's why I remember this a little bit more fondly. But when everyone talks about hating it or it being a dread, I completely get that. Man, we're putting in some work. Oh shit, Bryan!
I died.
My bad. Yeah, that was me on accident.
I don't know how I died, but
yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can get you back, but I gotta kill these dudes first. I don't want to run over your ammo. Okay, there you go. My bad. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Like It's not fun to replay, but it's made tolerable with friends.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, there's never a moment where I sit down and go, you know what I really want to do? Go play the library on Summit Evolved.
That's just never a choice people are making in life.
I may just play Solid Cartographer for fun, or Halo, the mission Halo, but I'm never going to just sit down to play the library.
Bryan, you're making a playlist. You're making a playlist of Halo levels that you're going to go play through. Let's say MCC has everything. It's even got 5 in there. And you got to pick one level from each game.
Oh, you're adding 5 into it?
Yep. You got to pick one level from each game that you're going to play. Let's say, let's just personal preference. Personal preference. What are you going with? Starting off with CE. ODST can count too if you want.
Well, here's the thing. ODST, I don't remember any of the level names because they all start from the hub world.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
So I'm probably gonna leave that one out just because I can't even think of what the level would be. Yeah.
Stand up there and shoot at us.
Okay, so I'll say Halo 1, the Silent Cartographer. Halo 2, Delta Halo.
Okay.
Halo 3, the Covenant.
Ooh.
Halo Reach.
Yes.
Halo Reach. Man, I'm trying to think of which one's the best one for Halo Reach.
I like the only sword base a lot. That'd probably be my choice.
That's the second level? Can't remember.
I think it is.
Level?
I think it is.
Man, that's hard for that one. I'm trying to think, what was the level before? Is the first level the Winter Contingency, or is the second level the Winter Contingency?
I know. I was thinking about that too, because that's my second choice probably.
I would say the level where you get the target locator for the first time. I think
that is pretty fun. Yeah, that's pretty fun. I think that's the third mission.
Because it's got like open place to drive around. It's got, it's just a fun mission.
Yeah, that's fair.
If I was gonna pick something for ODST,
Bryan, do you see these over here?
What's that?
They're like all the flood spores are just circling on my screen. Are you seeing that?
That's
what
weird.
The hell?
That is weird.
Oh no, I threw my grenade too far.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway.
Their AI must have got wonky. For ODST, I'd probably pick the first mission you play as Buck, which is like the first clue you find as the rookie.
That is a great one.
Yeah, it's just a good one.
That's a great one.
And then for Halo 4, I'm probably going to pick Requiem, which is the first mission on the planet, the second mission of the game.
Great choice.
And then for Halo 5, Halo 5, it's gonna have to be Sang Helios.
Yes.
Swords of Sang Helios.
Great choices,
I'm
man.
guessing your choices aren't gonna be too much different.
They're not too much different. I think I'm gonna go with, even though 343 Guilty Spark's my favorite level, I'm gonna go with Silent Cartographer as well. Halo 2. Yeah, Delta Halo's the first of the two that you're on Delta Halo, right?
Yep.
Okay. Then yeah, I'd probably go with that one as well. I do love no, I'd go with Cairo Station. I love Cairo Station so much.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I died. Hold on that hole. There's no way to get my shotgun back because it's at the bottom of the freaking pit.
It's at the bottom of the ocean, Jack. Yeah, okay, so Halo 3. Ooh. Man, I love...
Oh, I just fell down again like an idiot. Wow.
Oh, take me through
it's a little slippery over there.
What's the second level of Halo 3?
That's Crow's Nest. That's like probably one of my least favorite levels of
And what's the third one? What's the third and the fourth?
That is T-Savo Highway, where you're on the...
Savo Highway.
Yeah.
Savo Highway is probably my favorite for that one. And then, crap, I'm out of assault rifle ammo. And then Halo Reach is probably Oni Sword Base. Halo ODST, I think it's Kazingo Boulevard, but it might be. Since I'm not 100%, I'd say the last mission, because I did really love seeing everyone like united together.
It was also cool having the elephant be a part of the campaign.
Oh, Bryan, here's a shotgun if you need it.
Oh, nice.
Yes, it was, and you're welcome. And then for Halo 4, Requiem, I would say the same, and then 5, same. Sang Helios, definitely. Oh my gosh, I literally have no ammo at all. Okay, I do have a grenade though. I don't want to hurt you, Brian. Watch out for the frag. That was all I had left. My sacrifice. Oh God. Oh God. Damn.
I just feel like, I don't know if the timeline's up, but I feel like, you know, if we were back in the day that this came out, we'd be listening to like Evanescence right now.
Yeah, dude, those were the days. Like, I mean, I know I don't like that music as much, but I still enjoy the heck out of that stuff, and a lot of it's nostalgia. Honestly, my doorway into a lot of that music was through watching Daredevil, of all things, when that movie came out, because they had this soundtrack that I was just so enamored by.
Yeah.
I remember getting that.
One of my favorite bands of all time is on the Chevelle sound, or the
Oh, and it was
Daredevil
Chevelle
soundtrack. Chevelle, yeah.
Your
Yeah, I kind of
interest
spoiled
betrayed
that,
you.
didn't
Yeah,
I?
you did. But that's all right. It had Fuel on there. I really liked the band Fuel from back in the day. So, yeah, had a song called "Won't Back Down." I remember I would listen to that like crazy and just imagine myself as a badass. Oh, those were the days. But yeah,
Isn't
man.
it sad how music can make you feel like a badass when it's like, not only are you not any more of a badass for listening to this music, but no one around you thinks you're more of a
I know.
badass for listening to
Brian,
it.
do you remember that meme that was circulating around Twitter for a little bit, where it was like a picture of like someone's Spotify song, and then it showed a picture of this dude like looking kind of like angrily? Did you remember that meme? Oh God, I didn't realize you suck them too.
I don't know.
Okay,
if I
well, it's all
remember
good.
that
My point
specifically.
is, I get where you're coming from. I felt that way too a lot. I remember feeling that so many times.
I remember being in the
middle
back seat of my parents' cars with like my iPod plugged into my ears, listening to music and thinking, no one understands me. My life is so difficult. Mom and Dad just don't get it.
That's how that music was though back then.
Yep.
Like I tried to resonate with that.
And I look back on it, and I'm like, shit, Play, you had no problems at all.
Yeah, isn't that funny? But those problems
think
when we
one
were
of my-
younger were like big. Those were those first world, big world problems for us back then. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Like in a way, you can't chastise the innocence that we had back then, because it's like that's all we
Yeah.
knew. So, but I know what
I
you're
think
saying.
one of the biggest things that continued to be on my mind when I listened to that kind of music was just like being single and being alone. I always thought about like, you know, wanting to find somebody, wanting a girlfriend or whatever, because you think like if you're 13, 14, 15, all the way up to even in your 20s, like you think to yourself, if you don't have a girlfriend, that you're going to be alone forever, and it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
My biggest worry in high school was that I was convinced somehow that if I didn't find anyone before I graduated, that I would never ever find anyone.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way.
It's
Yeah.
funny because all my relationships began after high school, you know. So it's just like that immediately
Yeah.
was proven or disproven. So it's funny to think
Well,
about.
I think it's a
back then.
lot easier to date in high school than it is when you're an adult, because when you're in high school, you're forced to be in this place with all the other people your age, boys and girls, for 8 hours a day, and it's easy to kind of
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to make that happen. But then in an adult world, like, how do I get this woman who works somewhere different than me, who lives somewhere different than me, to go on a date with me?
Yeah, to form that connection and stuff like that. Absolutely. No, I know. I think that's what it is. I didn't really at the time. I think the reason why I felt that way was because I didn't know what to expect once I got out of high school. You know,
Yeah.
you see the stuff in movies, but obviously even
no
in high
one,
school
no
I
one
was
can
able to tell.
prepare
it was
you for
different.
real life.
No,
They always say that, but I believe it 100% now.
no, just like nothing could prepare me for this like the length of this level.
No, that
But
is
yeah.
also true.
Yes, but yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that music was definitely indicative and like representative of those feelings back then. Like I remember being really into. Oh, I see you hiding, Mr. Poppy Jacket Man. The music was really like. Sum 41 was one I listened to a shit ton, and it had that
Yeah.
kind of like skateboard angst stuff. And at the time, I was such a big Tony Hawk's Pro
Cause
Skater
I'm
fan.
in too deep.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, I love that song so much. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just I remember they had this one album. I cannot think of it what the name of it is now, but
I died.
oh damn. Oh Jesus, get off me. I got it for Christmas one year, and I just remember I had this distinct memory, like you described earlier, of being in the car, and just listening to that on my big compact CD player. It's so bulky now when I think about it, but just listening to that and just like trying to like I didn't quite identify with the lyrics, but I was like finding justification, you know, and how it made me feel, you know. Oh God, I
Yeah.
thought you died again. So, and do you remember
I
Good
thought I was
Charlotte?
gonna die too.
You remember Good Charlotte?
Oh yeah, I listened to Good Charlotte. I can't remember
Yeah.
what was that one song everybody listened to. I can't remember what it was.
I couldn't tell you now. Shakira.
There was a Good Charlotte song.
My older sister, yeah, she loved Good Charlotte, and so that's kind of how I got to know them. And I don't know, it was just played into more of that, like, it wasn't like screamo, it wasn't emo, but it was somewhere in between, you know. And it was just like they were fun. It was just a different type of music, but I don't know.
It's kind of hard to describe like how my music tastes have evolved because let me
Music
give you a little
tastes evolved.
let me give you a little background here. You know, in high school, okay, so growing up, my parents only showed me country music. That's all I knew, and I didn't like it at all. Well, I thought I liked it when I was a kid, and didn't know any better. But the second I heard something else, I was like, "Wait, I've been listening to shit my whole life." Like I've been listening to shit my whole life. Like, no, I'm done with that.
You grew up on that Brooks and Dunn, eh?
Pretty much. So then the first time I ever really like was turned on to different music was like Linkin Park. And
oh, okay. So that's why you love them so much. I mean, that's a huge part of it,
Yeah,
probably.
well,
Like the lasting
yeah,
power.
to a certain extent, like people will say like Linkin Park was the music of their youth, and like, but I don't really feel like I've grown out of a lot of music, but I've never grown out of Linkin Park. I just genuinely think they're a talented band. Personally, I'm not saying that you or anybody else has to agree with me, but you know, but then like there's music I listen to. There's music that I have on my phone that's like my high school music that's just there for nostalgia. I don't actually listen to it much anymore. But like I still go back to every now and then just to get nostalgia, like A Day to Remember and My Chemical Romance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I still like to listen to stuff that's like metal and rock and somewhat screaming. So in a sense I've grown out of that, but like in another sense, like that's just the kind of music I like. Like I think a lot of it comes down to
Behind us.
why the artist has made the music they've made. Like my favorite band is Deftones now, and I think like anybody who listens to Deftones will know that they're a rock band. They're more like they have songs where they scream and whatnot, but like Deftones is a lot more mature than the stuff I was listening to in high school that was like a bunch of guys with black eyeshadow and black girl jeans and, you know, grabbing their crotches as they scream. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I grew up with a lot of like Jim Blossoms, a lot of that 90s like flannel, like ripped jean rock, you know what I mean? Where the guy like I used to tie in the 90s it was popular to tie a long sleeve shirt around your waist. And you'd have like the white t-shirt, you'd have the blue jeans, and I used to do stuff like that cuz that was trendy. And that's what I liked. I wanted to look like that, and so I grew up with a lot of that type of music, like the music you'd see in oh god, what's that movie? There's High Fidelity, not so much that. Oh, Empire Records, that's what I was thinking of. So there's a lot of that. But then as I got older, I love here like I don't relate to this at all. But then I got older, and it was funny because you know you mentioned Linkin Park, and I know there's such a big deal for you. So you probably love hearing me say this, but like when I first heard Crawling, like it was at school, kids kept singing this song, and I was just like, what the hell are you singing? He was like, it's Linkin Park, you never heard of them? And I'm like, where's that at? You know, I didn't understand the actual band, and I wasn't trying to be an ass, I had no idea. And then I saw the music video of it one day on MTV and was able to put two and two together, and the lyrics matched up. And it just had a different sound than anything I was familiar with. And I remember feeling this weird, strange sense of, I like this, but I'm not sure if I do yet, but I think I like it. And yeah, my sister had the CD Hybrid Theory, and that was kind of a gateway into that genre, you know? Like that album itself.
Yeah. I'll be fair and say I cannot separate bias, but to me, Hybrid Theory and Meteora are perfect albums. They're flawless to me.
Did I ever tell you in 8th grade, there was before Meteora came out, there was this girl, her name was Brianna, I think it was, and every time someone brought that soundtrack up, she would just like, she'd do that thing people do where they like try to scream, but they just say it softly, so she'd be like, Meteora! And she would just do it like that in the classroom, like in the middle of class. She didn't care.
Why?
She was hyped as all get out about it. It was like the second coming of Jesus for her at the time. Like I remember a lot of people at school being excited for that album. Like that was a big deal at the time. Like we think about, I mean,
yeah.
To be a little relevant, like we think about like when Halo 2 came out and how big of a deal a lot of people were anticipating that game to be and stuff like that. Like soundtrack wise, I remember Meteor being a big deal around where I went to school. when it comes to music, at least. I don't remember any other album ever doing that. Like Power Rangers, there's some things as a kid, like the Power Rangers movie coming out was a big deal. Then you had like the Meteora soundtrack coming out. Then you had like Halo 3 coming out. And those are like some big heavy hitters, like movies, games, and music that I remember sort of growing up with. So, but like for you, Brian, I mean, was Linkin Park your gateway into that genre?
Well, here's
Or was it
here's the
Deftones?
actual. No, Deftones came way later. It's actually a funny story. So I was over at Kyle's house, our mutual friend Kyle's house, and
Miss Kyle.
I don't know, we were playing RuneScape or whatnot, and he put on a song that I really liked, and it was Ocean Avenue by Yellowcard.
That's a good song, but yeah, oh god.
And I didn't know I liked it.
Atypical.
That was the first time I ever heard that song, was at Kyle's house. And when we went to bed that night, like, because when he had me spend the night at his house, we'd sleep in the basement, and we both sleep on the floor. And when we went to bed, he was like, "Okay, I want to put on some music, for us to sleep to." So we put on Ocean Avenue on repeat.
What the hell? That song makes you want to run real fast. That doesn't make
And
me
I
want to
fell
go to sleep.
asleep listening to that all night long. And when I got up the next morning, I was like, "Dude, I need you to burn me a CD of that song, because that's one of the best songs I've ever heard in my life." And the reason I thought that is because all I had to compare it to was country. That's it.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm just thinking like you have like
so-
Mozart and all this shit through history, and you hear Ocean Avenue.
Freaking Yellowcard, yeah.
That's good though. I like that song. Most people on my Facebook love it too.
Yeah. So then when I told him, I was like, "You have to burn me a CD of this," he's like, "My dad will be mad if I burn a CD with just one song. Like if I waste a whole CD on one song. So let me give you some other songs." I'm like, "Oh, all I want is Yellowcard." He's like, "No, just give. I'm gonna give you like 10 songs." So he made me a mixed CD of 10 songs, and there was Yellowcard, Trapped. You know the band Trapped?
Oh yeah, Headstrong.
They were on there. Yeah, they were on
I
there.
liked that too.
Hawthorne Heights was on there.
Oh god, I remember them but didn't like them. But keep going. It's cool to hear this stuff.
And then he had like 2 songs of Linkin Park on there.
Okay.
And so what I initially did was I just listened to Ocean Avenue, but of course, I had a CD player, with with the CD you actually carried around with you. I didn't have an iPod at the time.
Yeah.
And what would happen is, it would go to the next track after Ocean Avenue, and eventually, I'd get lazy enough, or I'd let it go to the next track enough, I'd start to listen to the other music. And by the time everything was said and done, like, the music I wanted to listen to the most off that CD was Linkin Park songs. I like them way more than Yellowcard.
Oh, Ocean Avenue was your foot in the door.
So yeah, Ocean Avenue
Linkin Park had the
was
staying
literally
power.
Ocean Avenue was literally the first song I can remember in my life ever caring about that wasn't country.
Interesting. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
I remember being like freaking 7 years old and telling people Dixie Chicks was my favorite band. Freaking stupid.
Hey man, Wide Open Spaces is a great song. Do you like that song?
Okay, like, let me put it this
Sorry,
way,
Brian.
Josh. There's no Dixie Chicks song that I'm gonna say I like nowadays. But was it catchy, and did I like it then, and can I recite it all now? Yeah.
You got a couple years before that starts getting like nostalgic in a way. It'll creep back in. My dad was listening to that stuff back in the day so much, and I just thought I just can't stand country. Now
I just remember watching the music video for Earl Had to Die a bunch.
well, now so much time has passed that it's like that stuff was ingrained in my head, and now I'm like, you know what? I liked it. I didn't like it then. I wasn't ready for it, but like I'm old enough now. All that stuff is nostalgic in a way. So
Yeah. Yeah, and then I think after Linkin Park, Linkin Park was my favorite band for a couple years, and then Silverstein became my favorite band, but I don't think you've ever really heard of them much.
it sounds familiar though. I feel like I know somebody else who likes that band.
And then after Silverstein, I think it was...
You ever heard of Less Than Jake?
Oh, what's it?
Do you know a band called Less Than Jake?
I can't say I've heard of that, Josh.
Huh. I feel like you'd like them. I could see you liking them.
Maybe.
That's a little bit, somewhat similar. It's a little bit more ska-induced,
Now-
but yeah. Anyway.
Now, I'll say Deftones is an interesting story because, so, get this, this story actually involves Justin. So me and Justin separately, over the course of our lives, heard this song on the radio all the time called Change.
Oh gosh, yes.
And every time...
That's the most iconic.
It is, and every time we heard that song, like this was before we even met, me and Justin. Every time we heard that song, we both thought like, "Man, that song's incredible."
You change.
But we none of us had any idea who did it, who sang it.
Oh, okay.
And then one day, like
I knew Bryan.
One day me and Justin were like going to like a pizza buffet, and we were like, I think Justin brought it up first. He was like, "There's this song that I always loved that I just found out who the band is," and he brought up Change and said Deftones. And I was like, "Yeah, so did I, dude. Like Change by Deftones. Yeah, that song's amazing." And for literally like probably 3 or 4 years on my iTunes playlist, the only song I had by Deftones was Change, because I just, it was one of those things where you hear a single and you kind of assume that that's like their only good song, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then,
when I was a kid, I never listened to the deep cuts. I didn't care about what else was on the album.
Yeah.
It took, now granted, I'm going to tell you right now, with no shame whatsoever, one of my favorite groups growing up was Spice Girls, and they were one of the only few groups that had music that I would like check out the other stuff, but typically I didn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically I just listened to Change. That was pretty much it. And then the year that Halo 5 came out, right after Halo 5 came out, that's funny. I'm gonna make it sound worse than it is. That's not what I meant to make it sound like, but like I was just saying, right after Halo 5 came out, when I went into a deep depression. It wasn't because of Halo 5, but Josh remembers it. I've talked about it on the podcast. Like I had a really bad depressive time, like November of 2015, and once I started to get through that, like I got medicated, started to get through that, I started looking for some music to listen to, and I don't know what led me there, but I went to iTunes and I started browsing all of Deftones' other songs, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead.
I've had that with other
stuff.
and
I'm just gonna go ahead and pay 99 cents for every song that I like by Deftones. So I downloaded like I went through, I just kind of scanned through all their albums, being very nitpicky, and was like, okay, here's 10 songs I really like by them. Wow. So I downloaded all 10 of them, and then I was playing Warcraft 3 while listening to Deftones, and every song was just straight fire. So I was like, okay, well I need to go back in and see if I like some more of these. So I listened to some more. I'm like, okay, I like some of these too. Okay, I like some of these too. And eventually I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna buy the whole damn discography, because at this point, I had spent like $20-some in 99-cent purchases. I might as well just fill out the albums. And it got to the point where I was like, I like pretty much every song they've ever made, and they blew my mind. I just loved their music. And I think a part of, like, I like them for their talent and for how they sound, but I think a part of what's made them extra special to me is they're the band that I listened to when I was like getting through the depression.
Well, that stuff definitely stays with you. No, it definitely stays with you. I mean, I don't necessarily have that with any band, but I can tell you right now, I got several movies that I did that with. Because I know my older sister, Shakira.
Are you dead?
Yes, I'm dead. My older sister, Shakira, would like, she just had this thing, which I guess most people do, but she was my window into that. She used to put movies on and would just have them playing constantly. When it ended, she would rewind the VHS tape or have the DVD start over, and she would just have it while playing in the background while she was doing other stuff, reading a book, cleaning her room, doing homework, whatever. And I just remember doing that with some movies. I just never used to do that. And even to this day, if I'm, let's say, surfing the web on my laptop, I don't typically have music on. Sometimes I will, but I like the silence. I focus better. I don't focus as much as well with music. And I'm in the minority with that. But anyway, to the point is that I remember having some really tough times in high school. Like, who didn't? But honestly, just watching some of those movies over and over. Like there's this movie called Overboard with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. And I don't even think most people have seen this movie, but I love it to death, and it was one of those movies that it was my repeat movie. So when I was going through hard times and having really bad anxiety, that movie was there every time. And I was just to the point, I knew it front to back, like you probably know those albums. And it stays with you. Every time I see anything about that movie, it's got a special place in my heart because it got me through that time. So I know exactly what you're talking about. It's all awesome to have stuff like that.
I have literally, in moments of like severe depression where I feel like I could literally burst out crying any moment, I'm so depressed, I will curl up on the couch with the blanket and start Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh, really? That's your what's the term?
That's
for
my
it?
movie.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it always makes me feel like, I won't say it like gets rid of the depression, but it makes me feel comforted. Like the movie makes me feel like I'm dead, by the way.
What is it?
The movie makes me feel like it's kind of wrapped its arms around me.
Dude, that's really sweet. I love hearing that. I didn't know that. What about it is? What does it?
Well, with Fellowships, not only is it my favorite movie, but with Fellowships specifically, like the whole entire beginning of that movie, like it's like hearty and makes you think of home and like security and safety and
Sure.
like just finding love in the simple things like food and women and drinking.
And good
that's
tilled
the
earth.
Shire. Like yeah, they're just so simple and like it's like man, like people always say like, oh, if I was from Lord of the Rings, I would be Aragorn, I'd be Legolas. Every single time I'm like, I would be Mofo Frodo, man. Like because I would rather chill in this like off to the side green lands with like tons of food and drink and
I hear you, Brian.
and live in my hobbit hole. Like screw out there fighting freaking ring race. I'm done. I'm not about that.
I'd be like Sam. I'd be like, what we need is a few good taters. I'd be
Yeah,
wanting to hang in.
For real, man.
I'd be wanting us to all hang out at the Green Dragon Inn and talking
Heck
about
yeah.
how I'm crushing on Rose or Rosie or whatever her name was, and like you guys
Rosie
all
Cotton.
you trying to like get me to dance with her and stuff like that. What I mean? Just like and throwing Bilbo's birthday party, dude. Who throws the best birthday parties in all of Middle Earth? It's the fucking Shire, man. No one does it better.
Right.
Bilbo's birthday was a smash hit.
Yep.
He even disappeared from it.
I'll take freaking Green Dragon and freaking. I'll take that over. What do you call it? What's freaking Aragorn's sword called again?
Oh gosh, is it Imlandril? No.
No.
Elendil?
No.
No, not Elendil. No, that's like his great grandfather.
I'm losing. Anyways,
Oh
like
my gosh, what is?
I take the good tilled earth and the food over freaking being a badass warrior any day. I don't care.
No, I hear you. Oh, hey, that's dirty. That's all dirty. I don't feel like getting dirty. Plus, you gotta at some point or another, you're gonna have to taste Aowen soup, which just isn't good. So apparently.
Ooh, you lost me at Aowen soup. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want none of that.
Right. And
Aragorn straight like I'd rather fight Sauron than drink this
yeah,
shit.
Boromir's my favorite character, but I wouldn't want to go through what he had to go through with Denethor. Like, and plus with Faramir, you just feel so bad for him. Ugh, that's heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking. Like,
It helps me so much though to know that Boromir was a good brother to Faramir.
I know.
Ass.
You know what, Brian? When I first watched through Fellowship, it's kind of like how I thought 343 here was like a bad dude, and I thought Cortana on the last level was going bad. I didn't quite understand what was going on. So when I'm seeing Boromir like kind of go bad, I'm thinking that's like he's not being corrupted by the ring. I'm not realizing that. I'm thinking this dude is just inherently bad, was waiting for his moment to get the ring.
Same here.
And that's what he's
how
doing.
I felt.
Yeah. So and then it wasn't until like the Two Towers Extended Edition and then Return of the King where I was able to realize like Boromir was actually a really good dude.
I mean, I feel like Two Towers is just as good as the other two. I love Two Towers, and my favorite battle scene in the entire series is Helm's Deep. I mean, when I tested out my surround sound TV, like when I got my surround sound system for my TV, I was like, I'm gonna start up the Helm's Deep sequence with all the orcs like pounding their staffs to the ground and chanting and everything, and I'm gonna put it at max volume. That's always what I use. So like that's my favorite battle scene, and I feel like that movie lacks nothing that the other two films do, but it's my least favorite only because, it's the middle. And it sucks. That's what happens with middle chapters.
Yeah, I completely agree, dude. That's the same thing for me. Is like, it's all out of the three. It's always been my least favorite. Yet I can't think of a valid reason why. It's just like if I'm having to make that decision, it's there at the end. I mean, there's so many good things that happen in that movie that I'm so grateful for. Because when I got done watching. When I got into Fellowship, like when I realized, okay, I'm a huge fan of this stuff. Then I remember afterward, I was like, Mom, can you take me to Hollywood Video, and we'll see if they have Two Towers in. At that point in time, I didn't have any concept of like release dates. I just figured it was out. This was like 2002, so she's like, okay. And the one lady was like, that movie I think is still in theaters. I was so upset. No. It wasn't in theaters.
Oh.
It was in that in-between stage. So it hadn't come out yet on DVD and all that. But then through that I was able to discover there was an extended edition for Fellowship. But anyway, when that came out and I watched it, I was like, this is awesome. I was like, Faramir, like is Boromir's brother, and all these new like I was like, Gollum's finally in there. Like he got so teased at in the last one, and he's in that one so much. Like, and then like you said, Helm's Deep is just like so damn sweet. I mean, my favorite battle is, I still think the battle at Amon Hen in Fellowship, just because of how emotionally like driven it is. But
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going for like action set pieces, Helm's Deep is where it's at. Not even Pelennor Fields takes it for me.
Yeah, Helm's Deep was just unreal. I mean, I don't really see films today still like war scenes in films today don't do it as well as Helm's Deep or Pelennor Fields almost ever.
You know, the last time I really remember like seeing it vividly was at your place, and that there's just so much build up to it. Like you have all the Uruk-hai just standing out there and in the rain and everything, and then you have like the Theoden's like, so it begins, and then you have the elves showing up. There's just so much build up to it. It makes it all worth it. Plus, it just goes on forever. It feels like, but none of it's boring.
Yeah, I don't. I know it's an overused term, but I'm gonna use it anyways because it. The Lord of the Rings trilogy is it is the epitome of a lightning in the bottle moment.
Oh my God, that guy flew.
There's just no way. There's just no way you can make something that consistently quality over the course of like 12 hours of footage without it being a lightning in the bottle thing. And I mean, like when I think about watching, and I know the Battle of Five Armies, the Hobbit movie had a lot of issues, but when I think about watching the battle scenes in that movie, even though I like that movie and I like those battle scenes, all the emotion and raw intensity and of the scenes in the battles from the Lord of the Rings trilogy, it's not really there in the Battle of Five Armies. Like, it just feels like a orchestrated CGI battle in a movie. It seems like a fun set piece. But in
I know what you mean.
Helm's Deep or Pelennor Fields, it feels like, wow, this is, I feel emotionally connected. It's like, not only am I seeing a really awesome battle take place, but I'm feeling the camaraderie, I'm feeling the sadness, the desperation. That really wasn't there in Battle of Five Armies.
Oh, I get that.
And
most
movies don't have it. So, no, that's it. That's all I'd say.
I get it for the exact reasons, but I think, you know, something that movie, Return of the King, doesn't really get enough credit for is like, that came out in 2003. That was in a lot of ways like the last of like, I mean that movie did have CGI in it, but it was kind of the last of its kind. You know what I mean? Of like
effects.
Films that really had a lot of practical effects and felt organic, because that was, like I said, 2003. By that point, we were starting to move into that like territory of like CGI is looking a lot better now to look convincing enough for people to buy in. So all the movies started doing it. But like 2003, really, like even though they had some of it, it wasn't like being over reliant on it like the Hobbit movies kind of became.
And it's crazy, and you say this all the time, and I completely agree. Is like, it's crazy how awesome aesthetically that the Phantom Menace looks from '99, because it's so much more practical. You know, like, and that's not hate. That's not hating on the next two prequel films. It's just like the Phantom Menace just has this great aesthetic to it because it's so. I know there's a lot of CG in there because they were doing new. Like, the thing that comes to mind to me, like probably the worst looking thing in the entirety of the Phantom Menace, is that battle with the Gungans and the spear ball things and the tanks.
Oh, that's fair.
Like, it looks really, really bad in my opinion. But like, so much of that movie just looks great. Like, when that movie starts, this is what I love about Phantom Menace, dude. When Phantom Menace starts up and you see like the Jedi on the ship, you know, going there to sit down at the table with the Trade Federation, that looks like it came out of the OG movies.
It does. It does.
I love it. I love it.
No, I love it too. I know the aesthetic and like design is a lot different, but it all still feels like aesthetically, I can understand how for some people it was jarring at the time, but I still feel like because it wasn't being over reliant on CGI, it still feels like it exists within that sphere of the original trilogy. It has that like 90s look, you know what I mean? Like when you think of like the first Matrix in '99, and then you think of Matrix Reloaded, it's a little bit different. And I love Matrix Reloaded; it's my favorite of the three. But it's a couple years have passed, and we kind of moved out of the '90s, and then that '90s look is just kind of gone.
You know what's funny? I know we're all over the place with these movies right now, but you just said Matrix Reloaded is your favorite of the three, and what's so interesting is, and this is my opinion. So obviously, my favorite's the first movie, but here's my opinion. When you watch Reloaded, you're like, wow, that's a really, really good sequel. I like it. And then you watch is it Revelations? Or is it Revolutions? I can't remember.
I think
the
it's
third one.
Revolutions.
Okay, Revolutions. When you watch Revolutions, like, you're so irritated by how poor that movie was, at least for me. I'm just speaking for myself. I feel like a lot of people agree with me, though. You're so irritated by how, like, poor the third one was and how it's directly, like, not only is it directly a sequel to the second, but the second and third were all filmed once together and then split up. So it kind of, what ends up happening is the third film drags down the second, and history says that, oh, the only good Matrix was the first one.
Yeah.
That's what everybody likes to say. But truth be told, the second one was really good. It's just the
I'm
third
glad you say
one,
that, because, I
and
mean,
you know,
we said it, we
problem.
say it all the time, but, like, I mean, that's how I feel about Revenge of the Sith. Like, I feel objectively it's at least a good film. And
I would agree with that.
I think, you know, I can understand if someone said Attack of the Clones isn't a good film, I could understand that. But
that's how
it's
I
harder
feel
for me
about
with
Attack
1
of
and
the Clones,
3.
personally.
Yeah, so I can understand that, but then it gets kind of lumped. They get kind of lumped together and stuff. But no, it's a good point, because I mean, that's why I always liked Reloaded. I always thought it told a well structured story, and it started off
Cool action
very
scenes
fun.
and
Cool action scenes, and just the story got deeper with the characters. There was a lot of developments and stuff, and like, but then it gets to Revolutions, like you said, and I'm with you, dude. I want to like that movie so much, but I don't really care about anything that goes on. Like, I think about the battle at, I think, is it Zion?
Yeah.
I can't remember what's going. Yeah, and I just like I'm not interested as much, and then Neo dies, and that wouldn't really bother me, but it's just I don't care about anything else that's happening. So then when that
Nothing
happens,
in the
I'm
movie's
like,
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just not invested in anything in that movie. And they put a lot of
I wanna
emphasis
be.
on the big CG mech battles and not on the character moments and fighting of the actual like characters.
Which
So.
in one sense I can't fault him, because you want the mechs in there to kind of show like how big the war is, this battle is, but for me it was like, man, the meat and potatoes was really in the characters.
Okay, here's a fun question, Josh, and I feel like we probably disagree, but it's something that I'm very okay disagreeing with, because I don't feel too strongly that I'm correct. What do you think is the better film objectively, trying to remove your biases? The Battle of Five Armies or Attack of the Clones?
Oh,
You know I'm gonna say
no. This is a good
I'm gonna
question.
say
This is a
Battle
good
of Five
question.
Armies, even though Battle of Five Armies is pretty bad. I'm gonna say my reasoning for saying Battle of Five Armies is because it has some really strong character moments, some really strong acting, and it just, I mean, I think that's probably the two things I'll give it that I feel like it has over Attack of the Clones. But ultimately, they both have a lot of like bad CG and pointless kind of filler stuff, and you know, so.
I think I'll probably go with Battle of the Five Armies, even though I still love Attack of the Clones more. But the reason I'd have to do that is because it really comes down to the acting. Like, I will sit here and defend it to the day I die that it wasn't Hayden Christensen being a terrible actor. It was just the dialogue they were given, and George Lucas wasn't the best at giving direction with that kind of stuff, you know. But like he would always say, like, deeper with more emotion or something like that. Like, he wasn't really going up to him and being like, okay, in this moment, like, you know, she's been like talking to you for so long, and you guys have been playfully flirting, and there's been all this like build up, and now this is supposed to be where there's a payoff. He'd be like, he'd just kind of like really be short with it and stuff. So I think, I mean, the acting is still quite good in Battle of the Five Armies. There's still weight. Like, I think about one of the things I really loved about Battle of the Five Armies, this execution, was seeing the toll that I forget what it was called, but is it like something like dragon poison? What I can't remember what it was called. Oh my gosh, not dragon poison. Anyway, like how Thorin started to get corrupt, and you start to see how that plays on him.
Dragon sickness.
Dragon sickness, thank you. And well, I had like the Dollar General version. It's dragon poison. But yeah, so you start to see how that like plays off, coming off the previous two movies. And there's that like one moment where he kind of like is really like sweet to Bilbo, and then he gives him the no, did he give him the acorn in that movie? I can't remember.
Well, that's where like Thorin's dragon sickness is getting to him, and he sees Bilbo holding something. He's like, "What is that in your hand?" and he opens his hand and it's the acorn, and he's like,
Yes, that's it. That's it.
He's like, that's a poor prize for a burglar, and then Bilbo's like, nope,
so there's just
not for me.
There's
He's
a lot
like,
of
I'll take it, and it'll remind me of, I'll plant it in my garden, and it'll remind me of the journey I went through. I'm like, oh man, that's so sweet.
there's a lot of depth that's in that movie, despite the kind of quick flow of it.
Yeah.
You know, when I think about, like, honestly, out of all 6 films in the Middle Earth, I guess saga, Martin Freeman's acting when Thorn dies is the most, like, real to me in any of the films. I think they're all great. Like, when Boromir dies, that's the most emotional for me. That's, like, the high point in terms of, like, tears. But, dude, I don't know, just the way he reacts as he, like, processes that he's dead. And it's just, like, it's so real in that moment. And it doesn't quite stir me as much.
I agree. It doesn't last very
I
long,
don't
but I
know.
agree it's very real.
Yeah, so I really love that. But then on the other end of the spectrum, I'm like, well, that movie did not end well at all. Peter Jackson that film should have had the 6 or whatever endings that Return of the King got, but it didn't, and I think it suffered for it.
Yeah.
So, yet with Attack of the Clones,
they tried way too hard to overcorrect and make it have like one quick flat ending.
Yeah. And that's where, like, it missed with me, because, like, I mean, I'm not going to go into that whole spiel again because I've done it for years, but, like, Bilbo's send-off I thought was great, and I love how it segues into Fellowship, but I just, you know, that was all we got, and it's like, man, can we get a little bit more? Like, what we got with Legolas just doesn't count. Like, where was his like I needed at least one scene to explain to me where Legolas kind of started to shift from the kind of asshole he was to the sort of nice, like, soft.
It was
soft
weird they
dude
made
that
him
we
an.
see.
And I died, by the way. It's weird they made him an a-hole. Like.
Yeah, there was. There was nothing that. Oh my god! I almost shot him in midair. That big old tub. Yeah, there's just no development from that, and then the Tariel thing, and then the whole, like, Aragorn thing that didn't. It felt too on the nose. Like, I remember back when, in the early, like, days of Revenge of the Sith, I know George Lucas was toying around with the idea of having a young Han Solo and Kashyyyk, and he didn't put it in, and I think it's for good reason it didn't happen. I think that would have been too on the nose, and so I feel like when I think about the whole Aragorn thing, I feel like that's that version of it, and it's just like, ugh. For me, at least.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But Attack of the Clones has such a better, like, in terms of its story, it has an open and shut story in terms of, like, how it flows. Like, the ending's very good. It has, like, a lot of implications, repercussions, and, I mean, that's what people overall really wanted to kind of get to, was that experience to know, like, what the heck the Clone Wars looked like, how we got to that point. So, I mean, that part was good. I think the biggest strength of Attack of the Clones is its story. Everything else really suffers, whether you like it or not. Like, I think objectively the stuff suffers. But when you look at Battle of 5 Armies, it's just got a lot more going for it on the surface, despite, like, not having as good of exposition and ascending. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree.
That was a long answer.
Now, what about Unexpected Journey or Phantom Menace?
Well, both are good. Oh, I love these questions, Brian. You know, when I ask people questions like that, they usually have a short answer. And in my head, I'm like, this is good. Then they're like,
right.
oh, they just got a singular answer, and I'm like, what? But yeah, no, you're always
they're
asking
like,
good ones.
I'll go with Phantom Menace, and then they're done. And you're like, what?
You know what, man?
I'm not gonna judge you either way, man.
No, I don't know. I'm trying to think on that one. A part of me does want to say An Unexpected Journey, but yeah, I'd be more inclined to say An Unexpected Journey. If you take away the practical effects, if you take away the practical or the CGI stuff, I mean, in terms of organicness, Phantom Menace definitely has it night and day, like, strides. Like, I know there's CGI in there, but it just feels more grounded in reality. Like, when you're on Naboo, when they're there, it's like, seems like a place you could actually go to. Whereas when you're in, like, Mirkwood, or not Mirkwood, that's not part of that movie. Rivendell looks a little bit too CGI. So, but in terms of its story, I mean, it's a bit more to the point. And that's the best of the three. I love An Unexpected Journey. When I first saw it,
Yep.
I remember thinking, like afterward with Justin, I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? This didn't grip me the way the same way that the Lord of the Rings did. And I thought about it more, and after time sunk in, I thought, you know, all it is, aside from the CGI, which is a part of it, all it is that I just don't care about dwarves as much. I'm not as interested in dwarves, and that's so much the singular focus of that. Because if you think about it, we don't really see anyone else. We don't really see humans per se. I mean, in little snippets, but it's just dwarves, a hobbit, Gandalf, and you see some elves, and then the rest are just orcs.
Oh, really?
So,
Yeah.
it didn't grab me as much in that way, but that's out of bias. But realistically, I think every time I've watched that film, objectively, I give it a 4 or 4.5 out of 5. It's hard for me to find actual flaws in that film itself, outside of the CGI.
Yeah, I think Unexpected Journey was a very, very good movie that gave me a lot of hope for the trilogy. Yeah, I would put it above Phantom Menace, but I wouldn't put it skyrocket above Phantom Menace.
No, I wouldn't
You know
either.
what I mean?
That was actually a tougher one for me than the other one. So, what is your favorite out of the Hobbit trilogy? Is it Unexpected Journey?
It's Unexpected. Yeah.
Okay. Mine would still be Desolation, but that's also biased because of Tariel. So
I think Desolation, how do I want to put it? Desolation of Smaug did a really good job of expanding and opening up the world of The Hobbit. It made it feel it's kind of it's like Halo 1 to Halo 2. It's like Halo 1's kind of small and concealed. That's how Unexpected Journey was. And then Halo 2, it's whoa, there's more planets, there's other species, there's all this stuff. That's kind of what Desolation of Smaug felt. It's oh, there's a Beorn, there's a Bard, there's this whole thing with Sauron and Dol Guldur. I liked that it blew things up and expanded it. It made it feel closer to Lord of the Rings in scale, but it also introduced a lot of things that I didn't like the Master of Lake Town and Alfred.
yeah.
It also had some parts that were I actually really like the barrel scene from Desolation of Smaug a lot, but things like that were really over the top.
Oh God, Brian, remember that that GoPro camera thing that they were doing?
Oh, that was bad, dude. That's objectively bad.
If I could have, I know there's that one edit you want me to watch sometime, and I'm gonna do it. But if Peter was ever to come out with a new extended edition, in literally the only thing he cut out was just those little brief shots of that, I'd be completely fine with it.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
I wouldn't feel like I'm missing
I really want
anything.
you to watch that cut. I think you're really gonna like that cut if you ever get the time
I will.
to watch it.
Yeah, I will. I don't know. I'm definitely in that mood to watch them all soon, but I'm gonna wait for showing Xavier those. I'm eager to see his thoughts. I was on the treadmill yesterday, and I'm watching Boromir's death scene, but more when they're getting to Boromir, where he's kind of fighting with the hobbits and stuff. And then I was watching the Rivendell scene, and I was watching key moments from Two Towers, and then Return of the King, and I was man, I want to watch these and the Hobbit film. I just want to watch them all. Man, I gotta say real quick, this part when I finally got to fight these things, I was so happy because I thought I was so sick of these, and I always felt like they were bad guys, and then my suspicions just got confirmed.
I agree.
So
I feel the same way, dude.
Yeah. But
man, dude, look at
ahead.
this hologram of this ring. It's really impressive for 2001. Look at it.
It is, man. That's pretty damn
love
cool.
I can't wait to get to a room that looks exactly like this in Halo Infinite, we kind of saw from the trailer.
Yeah, that's gonna be so surreal. Hey guys, remember Halo Combat Evolved? And we'll be yeah.
There'll be videos on YouTube of people go, whoa, that's so cool. And
yeah, and then you'll have
"Ee."
you'll have the control room. Yeah, you'll have the control room from CE, and then they'll do a slideshow thing of it all these years later. So, okay, Cortana. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I really want to rewatch this again. I'm definitely, it's at that point for me. I'm ready to see it. All 6 of them too.
All right,
I know
guys,
they get
well,
that bad
is
rap.
another
Oh, is that the end of
I was
that
about to take us.
No,
That's
you're
the end
good.
of the level,
You're good.
dude. We're on a different level now. I was about to take us out, and Josh is like, I want to talk more Middle Earth.
I do. You take us out, man.
If
We'll
you
be back
guys,
soon.
if you guys want to hear more Middle Earth talk, you probably don't. They're probably like, man, that was one of the best cutscenes in Halo, and you guys just talked over it about freaking Desolation of Smog.
No, they like hearing us.
But all right, guys, that is it for this episode. If you want to hear Josh and I talk more about Halo or Middle Earth, join us on the next episode of the Playcast. Or if you just want to hear us talk about Halo, go to the podcast, because that's where we talk about Halo and pretty much nothing but. But yeah, guys, thanks for joining us, and we will see you on the next episode. Look at that. You were looking weird, dude. What are you doing? Like, hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime girl.
Dude, if you just look down,
All right, guys.
look down with your Spartan. It just looks
That
funny
looks
if you try to
weird.
drive
Wow.
like that.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. All right, guys. Keep it sacred. Peace.